They called it a fool's errand, a one-way trip into the heart of the storm. From the grassy cliffside, I looked up at Ethelgard, the city in the sky, my home. Once a beacon of light and innovation, it was now a dark mass of churning clouds and angry lightning, a dying giant suspended between heaven and earth. Its anti-gravity core was failing, shedding pieces of itself like mechanical tears. Down here, the air tasted of ozone and regret. I ran a hand over the fuselage of the Zephyr, my old bike. She wasn't much to look at, a relic of a bygone era, patched and repatched, but her engine still hummed with a stubborn loyalty. Her wings, crafted from sunwood and steel, had carried me through countless skies. Today, they would carry me on one final flight. This wasn't just about saving a city. It was about honoring a promise made long ago to the ones who built it, the ones who believed in it, in me. The wind whipped around me, a mournful howl that seemed to echo the city's pain. Strapping myself into the familiar cockpit, the worn leather seat felt like an old friend's embrace. A flip of a switch, a cough from the engine, and then a roar that drowned out the storm's lament. The Zephyr trembled, eager to dance with the sky one last time. We taxied to the edge of the cliff, the ground dropping away into an abyss of swirling vapor. There was no turning back. With a deep breath, I pushed the throttle forward. We surged ahead, leaving the solid earth behind, and plunged into the chaotic embrace of the sky. The world below shrank away, becoming a patchwork of green and brown. Above, Ethelgard waited, a maelstrom of our own making. My mission was simple, yet impossibly complex. Deliver the last stable energy cell to the city's dying heart, and restart the core. The fate of thousands rested on these old wings. Ascending into the storm was like flying into a blender of metal and fury. Chunks of twisted steel and shattered conduits, remnants of Ethelgard's outer districts, rained down around me. The Zephyr bucked and shuddered, her wooden frame groaning under the strain. I gripped the control stick, my knuckles white, becoming one with the machine. We danced an intricate ballet of survival, weaving through the deadly debris field. Then came the drones. Automated defense systems, their logic corrupted by the failing core, now saw everything as a threat. Red targeting lasers sliced through the gloom, followed by bursts of plasma fire. I rolled left, diving hard, the energy bolts searing the air just above my canopy. They were relentless, a swarm of angry hornets. I led them on a chase through a canyon of falling superstructure, using the chaos as my shield. One drone got too close. I pulled the plane up into a sharp Immelmann turn, coming around behind it. A quick burst from my old machine guns, and it spiraled down, a plume of black smoke marking its demise. Lightning was a different beast altogether. It wasn't just a threat, it was the sky itself trying to tear us apart. Arcs of pure energy, thick as ancient trees, leaped between floating islands of rock and metal. They weren't random. They followed the shifting magnetic fields, creating a deadly, unpredictable web. My instruments flickered wildly, useless in this electrical chaos. I had to rely on instinct, on the feel of the air, on the hum of the engine telling me how she was holding up. I saw a pattern, a rhythm in the chaos, a momentary gap in the lightning's fury. I pushed the throttle to its limit, and the Zephyr shot through the opening, the heat of a passing bolt warming the cockpit glass. We were getting closer. Through a break in the clouds, I saw it, the inner sanctum, the crystalline structures of the city's core district, glowing with a faint, sickly pulse. The city's core was a breathtaking sight, even in its decay. A massive crystalline heart, easily the size of a cathedral, pulsed with a weak, erratic light. This was the source of Ethelgard's life, and it was fading fast. The final energy cell, secured in the co-pilot's seat next to me, hummed with contained power, a stark contrast to the dying giant before me. But reaching it wouldn't be easy. The primary access conduits had collapsed. My only way in was a maintenance tunnel, a narrow twisting passage that was now constricting as the city's structure groaned and shifted around it. It was a throat, and it was closing. As I angled the Zephyr towards the tunnel's mouth, the entire structure lurched. A massive gear tumbled from above, crashing into the tunnel's entrance, making the already tight squeeze even tighter. There was no room for error. One wingtip scraped against the side, and we'd be crushed. I took a steadying breath, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. "All right, old girl," I whispered to the plane. "Let's show them what we're made of." I eased us into the tunnel, the darkness swallowing us whole. My landing lights cut a weak path through the gloom, revealing a nightmare of sparking wires, grinding pistons, and crumbling walls. The tunnel twisted and turned, a mechanical serpent trying to squeeze the life out of us. I could hear the metal of the tunnel scraping against my wings, sending shivers down my spine. Alarms blared on my console as the pressure intensified. The tunnel narrowed further. I had to make a choice. With a flick of a switch, I jettisoned my landing gear. The plane lurched upwards, gaining a few precious inches of clearance. We scraped through the tightest point, the sound of screeching metal, an assault on the ears. Just ahead, a pulsing blue light grew brighter, the core chamber. But the tunnel behind us was collapsing, sealing our exit. This truly was a one-way trip. Bursting into the core chamber was like entering the heart of a galaxy. The vast, cavernous space was filled with the immense, multifaceted crystal, its light now a desperate, fading throb. The air crackled with raw power. My target was a docking cradle directly beneath the crystal's center, the only point where the new energy cell could be integrated. I lined up my approach, the plane bucking in the unstable energy fields. The delivery system was simple, a low-altitude pass, a precise release. I had one shot. As I descended, the crystal flared, a final, defiant pulse of energy that sent a shockwave ripping through the chamber. The Zephyr was thrown sideways, one wing dipping dangerously. I fought the controls, muscles straining, sweat beading on my forehead. I brought her back level, just feet above the cradle. I hit the release. The energy cell dropped, guided by its small magnetic thrusters, and slotted perfectly into place. For a moment, nothing happened. The chamber remained dark, the crystal's pulse gone, replaced by an unnerving silence. I thought I had failed. My heart sank. The Zephyr drifted in the silent chamber, a tiny speck in a vast dead machine. And then, a low hum began. It started softly, a single, pure note that resonated through the very structure of the city. A brilliant, golden light ignited at the center of the crystal, spreading outwards through its facets like sunrise through a prism. The light was warm, vibrant, and full of life. It surged through the chamber, pushing back the shadows, flowing into the city's veins. Outside the cockpit, I could see the city's systems coming back online. Lights flickered on across the distant districts. The churning storm clouds began to dissipate, scattered by the core's renewed energy field. The violent lurching ceased, replaced by a smooth, stable hum. Ethelgard was saved. It was breathing again. The collapsing tunnel had sealed my path, but the restored core had opened new ones. A grand hangar door, sealed for decades, irised open before me, revealing a sky painted in the warm hues of sunset. The storm was gone, replaced by a serene calm. I guided the Zephyr through the opening and into the open air. The city of Ethelgard, my home, was no longer a dying beast, but a jewel of golden light, hanging peacefully in the evening sky. My mission was complete. I felt a profound sense of peace wash over me. The Zephyr, faithful to the end, glided effortlessly now, her engine purring contentedly. As we flew towards the setting sun, a fine, sparkling dust began to trail from her wings. The old sun, wood, and steel, having fulfilled their purpose, were returning to the sky from which they came. This was my final flight, my final sunset, a perfect end to a long journey. The sky embraced us, and we became a part of its endless, golden story. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and fly high in your own adventures.